was something very strange about the classical mysteries, something which attracted people to them, and having attracted them, made their initiates, with very few exceptions, permanent devotees. In Egypt, Greece, India, Rome, and a dozen other places and countries, sacred initiations took place in specially prepared sanctuaries, usually in a cave or underground. Priests of the mysteries enjoyed the profound respect of the masses, as well as that of kings and counselors. What were the mysteries? Until relatively recently, and relying upon comparatively scattered fragments such as Apollosius' Golden Ass, historians and religious writers had formed an opinion of them which has been shown to be extremely naive, if not outright false. They knew that at the ceremonies symbolical teaching took place, and hence inferred that the mysteries were a relic of the times when academic knowledge was guarded by the very few, and scientific truths such as Pythagorean theorems were given only, and only, to the elect. They knew also that orgiastic drumming and dancing formed a part of many of the rituals, and therefore told their readers that this was a degenerate form of religion or a mere excuse for licentiousness. They found that stories of ancient gods and heroes were recited, and were sure that the mysteries constituted little more than an underground survival of prehistoric religion, magic, or tribal initiation. But times have changed, folks. The study of brainwashing and mind control and conditioning the mind within the past decade or so has helped to lay bare the essence of the mysteries and has answered the riddles which surrounded them. So let us return to a sketch of the conventional knowledge about the mysteries. In those of Eleusis celebrated in Greece, the candidate had to undergo fasting or abstinence from certain foods. There were processions with sacred statues carried from Athens to Eleusis. Those who were to be initiated waited for long periods of time outside the hall in the temple where the rites were to be held, building up a tremendous tension of suspense. Eventually, a torchbearer led them within the precincts, usually underground. The ceremonies included a ritualistic meal, one or two dramas, the exhibition of sacred objects, the giving of the word, an address by the Hierophant, and oddly enough, closure with the Sanskrit words, Tansha Ampaksha. The elements included the clashing of cymbals, tension, and a certain degree of debilitation, eating something, plus conditions which were awe-inspiring, strange. The candidate was in the hands of and guided by the priesthood. Other factors were drinking a soporific draught, symbolic sentence of death, whirling around a circle. Initiation ceremonies of secret cults and the mystery type invariably involved tests, sometimes most severe ones. The effect of certain experiences was a carefully worked program of mind training, which is familiar in modern times as that which is employed by certain totalitarian states to condition or reshape the thinking of an individual. Are you listening to me, all you Freemasons out there who think that you're so smart? Well, you're not. This process produces a state in which the mind is pliant enough to have certain ideas implanted, ideas which resist a great deal of counter-influence. This was the secret of the mysteries, this and nothing else. Echoes of such training are to be seen in the rituals of certain secret societies without mystical pretensions which survive to this day. Trials, terror, expectancy, drinking, and the rest. That this fact was known in the past, folks, is evidenced by the words of Aristotle, who was exiled because he was said to have revealed something about the mysteries, and he said this, quote, "Those who are being initiated do not so much learn anything as experience certain emotions and are thrown into a special state of mind," unquote. Well, what was this special state of mind? Folks, it was a plasticity in order that the conditioning might take permanent root. The psychologist William Sargent, the greatest authority on this subject, says in his classic Battle for the Mind, quote, "It seems, therefore, that there are common final paths which all individual animals, though initial temperamental responses to imposed stresses vary greatly, must finally take. If only stresses are continued long enough, this is probably the same in human beings, and if so, may help to explain why excitatory drumming, dancing, and continued bodily movement are so much used in such a number of primitive religious groups. The efforts and excitement of keeping the dance in progress for many hours on end should wear down, and if need be, finally subdue even the strongest and most stubborn temperament, such as might be able to survive frightening and exciting talk alone for days or weeks," unquote. Now, understanding what I just read to you, this quote from Battle for the Mind by William Sargent, can you still say that music plays no part in the conditioning of the mind? That the words in the music is not being entrapped by the subconscious of those young people who dance for hours listening to this music? If so, I think you'd better rethink that position, for it is a form of mind control, brainwashing. Dr. Sargent notes that Chinese experiments in mass excitation, breaking down and reconditioning, are based on the same physiological principles as religious conversion, and also group and individual psychotherapy treatments. Folks, these include the application of tension, fear, anxiety, conflict, to the point where the subjects are uncertain. And in this state, suggestibility is increased and the old pattern of behavior is disrupted. Their reaction is that the experience may well be induced by physical methods, but in spite of that, and this is what they say, quote, "It is nothing less than actual spiritual communion with a supernatural power," unquote. This is the point at which scientists and mystics cannot agree. The mystic feels sure that he has experienced something sublime, and who's to say that they haven't? For if you have not experienced it, you have no basis upon which to make a decision. But to experience it is to put yourself in a position to be controlled by others. So we are in a quandary now. How do we explore this? The scientist tells the mystic that it is an illusion. He just simply will not believe it. The situation reminds one of the time when someone produced the soul of a departed relative to tell a spiritualist that there was no life after death. Although this is alleged to have happened in Ireland, one can visualize it taking place easily enough in the mutually heated atmosphere of scientists versus mystic anywhere in the world.
So, God works in mysterious ways.
Yes, absolutely. I do want to talk to you about God because you are very educated in that subject. In fact, I always go, he's a mystic. Alex Jones is a mystic.
Well, I have had a lot of what you call mystic experiences in my life.
But the way you
just literally
thought,
not very often, but sometimes actually like hear a voice saying this is about to happen, usually warnings, and then it happening quite a few times, and also having dreams that came true. Sometimes
that's called foresight, right?
Absolutely. So I certainly, young, realized that there was something to the spiritual realm. In fact, it's everything. Third dimension is just a reflection of that.
Yeah.
And so this dimension is just a reflection of the, we call it higher dimensions, but the more complex dimensions. Then by the time I was about 13 or so, repeatedly, different ones, 10, 20 miles apart, would say, hey, we're in a satanic cult. We want you to be in it.
Oh, wow.
And I had some pretty amazing things there, and never was part of it. But repeatedly, I would be like, thinking, oh, this 16-year-old girl when I'm 14, was taking me out to the lake or whatever. And then, pull into this place, and there's torches and stuff.
Oh, my God.
And black hoods. And then I'm like, boom, literally walk out of there. and you have to walk home out in the country and go knock on a farmhouse door and call my dad. They didn't have cell phones back then. So I had some adventures like that are like eyes wide shut.
Well, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Isn't it weird
And I can see now the devil's not omnipresent, but he's been around a long time and does have his agents all over and has that intelligence, and could figure out God had some big plan for me. So I definitely got targeted.
But you knew God.
And I would say that I never, fell to evil completely, but for a couple of years, 14, 15, I was, becoming influenced by evil.
Flirting.
Visions, the ideas, all of it.
Dark.
Mindset. I really just pride, more of a Luciferian temptation, power. And then, God interceded in it. And by the time I was 18, I had, not in a church or anything, but a big Holy Ghost experience. Then God gave me a mission. And then after I've been on air about 3-4 years, I had another, call it a vision, but it wasn't visual, but it was like all this knowledge, this download, what I was going to do.
So now you're being taught to submit. So let me tell you about Operation 666.
What the hell?
Operation 666.
Oh,
Yeah, you can
this
see it
guy's
over
great.
here. Yeah.
Banned from all
You're
these.
watching
Well, because a lot of his audience.
Operation Freedom.
He's
To
literally
destroy you forever.
He's losing it.
I'm just a donkey. On the 6th of August, we banned InfoWars from 27 platforms. Operation 666. The number of the beast. Hell and fire. Reigning free.
Oh, is he the Beast? Is that what the donkey head is?
I guess.
I thought he was going to do an Iron Maiden bit for a second.
Soon the West will fall. 1.8